The Caddo Parish Commission is about to commence a special meeting and want everyone to know how much we appreciate you all coming out today. This is one of the rare occasions that we've actually called a special meeting outside of our regular campus. And at this time, I would love for the clerk to perform the roll call.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Crackman. Here. Commissioner Greg Young.
Present.
Commissioner Thomas.
Present.
Commissioner John Paul Young appears to be absent at the moment. Commissioner Burrell. Here. Commissioner Jones appears to be absent at the moment. Commissioner Gage Watts.
Present.
Commissioner Blake.
Here.
Commissioner Atkins. Here. Commissioner Cothran.
Here.
Commissioner Lazarus. Is he in the building? Okay. He's absent at the moment, and Commissioner Epperson is also absent. So you have, let's see, 8 of 12 commissioners present. That does constitute a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. At this time, Commissioner John Atkins is going to perform our pledge, and Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts will do our invocation, but they're going to do it in reverse in the order that I just stated.
Our hearts and minds are clear. Let us pray. Oh God, how humbly we come before your throne of grace and mercy. God, thanking you, Lord, for this day that you have made. God, we thank you, Lord, for allowing us to be in your presence. We invoke your presence, God, over this meeting on today, God. We thank you, Father God, for calling us to be leaders in this season, oh God, for such a time as this. God, we thank you for this beautiful edifice, oh God. We thank you, Father God, for everyone under the sound of my voice. Lord, I ask that you would give us the wisdom, Father God, and the guidance, God, to make the best decisions, God, for the citizens of Caddo Parish, God. We do this, God, in your name, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Facing the flag, place your hand over your heart and
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated.
Okay, at this point, that brings us to new business, where the first item on your agenda today is a presentation related to a proposed sports complex in Caddo Parish.
Okay, and so the chair recognizes our CEO and Administrator, Erica Bryant.
Commissioners,
Good afternoon.
citizens, and I want to welcome you all and thank you for taking to join us. I want to make sure y'all can hear me. Especially in our, I think I'm going to, thank you. Can y'all hear me? It is especially fitting that we begin our series of community meetings here at the Walter B. Jacobs Nature Center. This location represents more than simply a place for us to gather today. It represents an investment from the Caddo Parish citizens. Caddo Parish residents invested in a vision for this facility, and now generations of residents will continue to benefit from that investment. We chose to begin here because it reminds us that major community investments are ultimately about the future. They require us to consider not only what our community needs today, but what we want Caddo Parish to offer our children, our families, and future generations. Today, we want to give you a better opportunity to see and understand the vision being considered for the proposed Caddo Parish Sports Complex. You will see an informational video as well as conceptual renderings prepared by 3 Architecture. These materials are intended to help citizens visualize what the proposed complex could look like, how the various components could work together, and the types of opportunities such a facility could provide for our community. It is important to emphasize that today is a part of a larger public information process. This will not be our only community meeting. Caddo Parish will host additional meetings in different areas of the parish, so residents throughout our community have opportunities to learn about the proposal, ask questions, hear the facts, and better understand what is being considered. We will also attend various community forums hosted by community organizations. We have also prepared a list of questions and answers that we provided here today. We also have included that information on our website, as well as the presentation that you'll see today, as well as our renderings, the studies that we've conducted, and the performance behind the numbers. All of that will be located at caddo.gov/caddosports. We recognize that a project of this magnitude generates questions, as it should. Questions about the facility itself, its location, its cost, its financing, its economic impact, its relationship to community priorities, and what it could mean for the future of Caddo Parish. All are important parts of this conversation. Our responsibility is to provide the public with accurate, useful information so our citizens can make an informed decision. As you watch the video and view the renderings, I encourage you to think about the facility itself. Think about the young athletes and families who could use this facility. Think about tournaments and visitors coming into our community and supporting our hotels, restaurants, retailers, and small businesses. Think about creating additional recreation opportunities for our own residents. And think about what investments today can mean for our Caddo Parish 20 or 30 years from now. Just as Walter B. Jacobs represents an investment made by Caddo Parish citizens that we continue to enjoy today, the proposed sports complex is an opportunity for citizens to provide an investment for future generations. Thank you again for being here, for participating in this process, and for taking an active interest in the future of Caddo Parish. At this time, we're pleased to provide the informational video.
In 2023, the Caddo Parish Parks and Recreation Department completed its comprehensive master plan. A key recommendation was the development of a multi-sport, multi-use indoor sports complex to serve Caddo Parish residents, creating opportunities to host tournaments, events, and visitors from across the region. But before we talk about the proposal, let's start with something much simpler: sports. Sports have always been about more than the final score.
The character traits that are established through sports, from the discipline, the accountability, and just the rewards and benefits of being in a structured environment.
I believe sports are important because it gives kids the opportunity to express themselves.
Sports teaches life lessons.
It makes you push harder. It gives you something to reach as a goal.
It builds their confidence. It builds their self-esteem. It gives them a sense of belonging.
I think this is a great opportunity. It can bring a lot of good things to the community.
This proposed state-of-the-art sports complex will span more than 170,000 square feet across 13 acres, with a proposed location along the I-20 corridor. Approximately 89,000 square feet of indoor court space, 9,000 square feet of public and community meeting space, 15,000 square feet dedicated to family entertainment amenities, and 27,000 square feet of flexible use space. 10 flexible basketball courts and 20 volleyball courts can be converted to offer a variety of different types of sports.
It gives us the opportunity to host basketball tournaments, volleyball, wrestling, and even gymnastics.
Dance competitions, graduations, you can kind of turn it into whatever you want.
You see kids in these facilities playing soccer, like they're training for baseball, like you're doing indoor track. Just the multiple things that a facility or a place like that would give these kids. And you see them in other cities.
What will also help to distinguish this state-of-the-art facility from other regional sports complexes is its ability to host large-scale tournaments and athletic events. the same types of competitions that many local teams and families currently have to travel across the region and across the country to attend.
If we had a facility like this in Caddo Parish, it would help to bring in people nationwide to spend money in the parish.
I play AAU ball. The biggest thing for me, I had to travel to New Orleans every Friday. I just can only imagine if I was able to stay home and get the local support.
My own children, we've played soccer all over the state of Louisiana. We've also played in Houston, Dallas, Little Rock, have gone as far as Atlanta. To be able to keep that in-house would be a tremendous benefit. Also bring in other families that would be able to come to this area.
I know families travel 8-9 weekends a year. I mean, if you add that up, that's a lot of money.
We're missing out on the large tournaments that can really provide a tremendous economic impact for our community.
Over a 5-year period, the indoor sports complex is projected to attract approximately 136,500 out-of-town overnight visitors, generate more than 31,700 new hotel room nights, and produce approximately $20 million in direct economic impact for Caddo Parish and the surrounding region.
I think it would benefit the community, it would create jobs, it would create an environment for people that are not from Shreveport.
If we keep it here in town, they wouldn't have to travel, and all the revenue can stay here.
And then they're there spending money on hotels, on restaurants, and shopping.
It'll just increase the value of our community.
What we've seen is that families are really willing to put more towards going to see their kids play at these travel locations than even their own family vacation. So it's important that we look to the future and what are those needs.
The proposed complex also creates opportunities for public-private partnerships. The broader vision could include up to 200 acres of mixed-use development featuring outdoor athletic fields, along with additional retail and entertainment amenities. The goal is to create an inclusive facility that accommodates all families and citizens of all ages throughout Caddo Parish.
It is so important that we have inclusive activities, adaptive football, adaptive track and field. So with a universal design, it already has everything.
Projects of this size come with important questions. How would this be funded? The answer is through a proposed $60 million bond that will appear on the ballot on November 3rd. Just like a mortgage, a bond is one of the ways local governments finance major public infrastructure projects. The proposed Caddo Parish Indoor Sports Complex will be primarily funded by $60 million in general obligation bonds, with the additional $10 million funded from various other sources such as the general fund, oil and gas revenue, naming rights, and other sources. This proposal does not create new taxes or increases.
A facility of this magnitude would be tremendous, so I just can't speak highly enough of the benefits.
Go to tournaments and there's over 100 teams, and I'm like, wouldn't that be nice if one day we can have something like that in Caddo so that we can offer more opportunity for our kids, our family, and just people in our community.
Election Day is Tuesday, November 3rd, and early voting is October 20th through the 27th. For project updates and answers to frequently asked questions, visit the Parish of Caddo's information portal at caddo.gov/caddosports. In 2020,
We have Ms. Lisa Frontar with 3 Architecture to go through the renderings.
This out. This one on? Good. Can everybody hear me? I think they're getting my presentation ready. Can y'all go back to the first page, please? One more. Oop. There we go. Okay. I'm here today to help bring the parish's vision into view, to take the ideas and possibilities that they've been exploring for this community and illustrate what those possibilities could look and feel like. What I'll share with you today is just that, a vision, a way to help all of us visualize what this could be. And before we look more closely at the sports complex itself, I'd like to begin by putting it into the context of the parish's larger vision for this project. The centerpiece of this larger vision is what you see highlighted here, the sports complex. This is the anchor for the overall development and the starting point around which future opportunities could potentially grow. The vision is for a sports complex that could serve local athletes and families while also creating opportunities to attract tournaments, competitions, and visitors from outside the parish. And that's where thinking about the larger site becomes important. When athletes and families travel here for an event, they're not simply using the courts. They may be staying overnight, eating at restaurants, shopping, and spending time within the community. So the sports complex is our anchor. The larger development represents the opportunity that could potentially grow around it. This concept illustrates how hotels and retail could potentially develop adjacent to the sports complex, supporting visitors and tournament activity while creating additional amenities around the site. As the vision expands, the parish has also looked into how the broader property could support outdoor recreation. This concept begins to imagine multi-purpose sports fields, trails, cross-country, and other recreational opportunities that could extend the experience beyond the walls of the sports complex. The idea is to envision a destination that could serve many types of users, not simply one sport, one age group, or one kind of event. As activity on the site grows, the concept also leaves room for additional development. Looking even further into the future, the plan preserves the possibility for additional community amenities, such as an aquatic center and splash pad. Again, this is long-range visioning, thinking about how the site could continue to evolve and offer additional ways for families and the community to use it. And similarly, the concept preserves opportunities for additional hotel and retail development as visitation and demand might grow over time. And when we bring all those pieces together, this is the larger vision. At the center is the sports complex, the anchor. So with that larger vision in mind, let's take a closer look at what the sports complex itself could become. If you guys don't mind, we'll go to the next set of renderings. I think we might need to go back one more. There we go. Thank you. This is the main entrance. This is where that vision begins to come into view. The idea is to create an arrival experience that immediately tells you this is something special. Not simply a gymnasium or collection of courts, but a destination for Caddo Parish. The transparency of the entrance gives us a glimpse of the activity inside, while the scale of the entry begins to communicate the potential significance of this facility for the community. We're beginning to visualize what this experience could be. As we move around the building, this view begins to illustrate the type of identity the parish envisions for the complex. Something bold, recognizable, and memorable. The idea is that a facility of this significance could have an identity that people immediately associate with Caddo Parish. Stepping back, we start to understand the potential scale of the complex and how it might be experienced on a typical day or a busy tournament weekend. And one thing you'll notice through these images is that we're not just envisioning one building, we're envisioning the life around it. Athletes arriving, families gathering, teams coming together, and visitors experiencing Caddo Parish. We're not just visualizing a building, we're visualizing the experience that could happen here. So the exterior images begin to give us a sense of the identity this complex could have within the community. But ultimately, the success of a sports complex isn't simply about how it looks from the outside, it's about what happens inside. So let's step through those doors and imagine that experience. Immediately upon entering, the vision is for this to feel like more than simply a place to play a game. It could be also a place to gather, connect, and spend time. Spaces like this illustrate how athletes, parents, families, and visitors might all use this facility at the same time, whether they're competing, waiting for the next game, grabbing something to eat, or simply spending time together. That's an important part of the vision, creating not just a sports facility, but a community experience. More than a place to compete, it's a place to connect. This image begins to show another dimension of what this facility could offer. The vision isn't limited to tournament weekends or organized competition. It's also about creating opportunities for everyday recreation, fitness, and wellness. Here, we're imagining an elevated walking and running experience that's visually connected to the activity throughout the building and to the outdoors. It's an example of how this complex could potentially serve people of many different ages, abilities, and levels of competition. And now we've come into the heart of the sports complex. What these next several images are really intended to demonstrate is flexibility. Rather than envisioning a facility that serves one sport or one type of event, the concept explores how a large competition space could potentially transform to accommodate many different uses. Here, we're seeing one possible basketball configuration with multiple courts operating simultaneously, illustrating the potential to host practices, league play, and larger tournament events. But take that same space and imagine it differently. It could potentially transition from basketball into an environment for cheer, dance, martial arts, or other large format competitions. That flexibility creates the possibility of accommodating a much broader range of events. And here, that same environment is a vision for volleyball. What you don't see in the renderings is that we would accommodate all of these different sports by things that can retract from the ceiling, dividing the courts, volleyball nets coming from above, and all of those things that could easily transform the space in a matter of minutes. Again, we're demonstrating how the facility could adapt to different sports and different event needs. The idea is not to build for one sport, it's to create possibilities for many. And wrestling gives us one last example. The courts give way to mats, and the same large volume space takes on an entirely different character. So when you look at these images together, basketball, cheer, volleyball, and wrestling, the real story isn't about any one configuration. The story is adaptability, the potential for one facility to support many sports, many events, and many different users throughout the year. We've looked at potential for multiple events happening simultaneously, but now imagine a different moment, the opportunity to transform from many courts into a showcase environment. This rendering explores what a championship or featured game atmosphere could feel like. Spectators surrounding the court, energy in the building, and athletes competing in an environment that feels special. And for a young athlete from this community, the possibility is that an important game doesn't always have to happen somewhere else. A facility like this could create those memorable experiences right here in Caddo Parish. And now we come back outside. Hopefully, after walking through the building, you see this image a little differently. Now, when we see the building illuminated at night, we can imagine the activity behind that glass. The athletes competing, families gathering, people exercising, tournaments taking place, and the community coming together. And again, this isn't intended to tell you exactly what a future building will look like. It's intended to help you bring the parish's vision into view and illustrate what could be possible. Ultimately, that's what all these images are about. They're a way of visualizing an idea for a facility that could serve local athletes and families, an idea for a place that could welcome visitors and events, and an idea for a destination that create new experiences and opportunities here in Caddo Parish. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioners, that provides you an overview of the proposed project. We'd like to thank you at this time for giving us this opportunity to provide the vision that you entrusted in us. And at this time, we'll take any questions from the audience. Do we have any prepared questions? Or?
We have received some, and if it's appropriate, I just want to make sure everybody understands. When you came in, you should have seen two different comment cards. One is this green comment card, which is for this portion of the meeting where we have questions directly related to this presentation. And then one is this white comment card, which is less of a question and maybe more of a public comment that you'd like to make afterwards. So if appropriate, I can go ahead and begin reading the questions that we've received at this point. The first question that we received is a question asking if the sports complex will be able to accommodate flag football, arena football, indoor soccer, or lacrosse.
So the sports complex is designed to encompass whatever, the first phase is designed to encompass whatever indoor types sport that we can. If the citizens grant the authority to the commission to go forward with this project, it is our plan to have meetings with the community, with the sports community, our citizens, to determine what their needs are and what they'd like to see in the facility. Yes, on the outdoor phases, the commission would be considering outdoor fields, cross-country, whatever activity based on the desires and needs of this community that the commission could deem to be advantageous.
Okay, and the next question that we've got is a little bit of a different nature, but absolutely mentioned in the video here. The development costs look to be estimated around 70 million. 60 million was mentioned to be coming from a general obligation bond. Where is the remaining 10 million proposed to come from?
So the commission would look to our other revenue sources, our oil and gas revenue. We would conduct a major naming rights campaign that would hopefully cover several years. We do have available funds to be able to fund the other 10 million. We would also be looking at outside sources to assist with the 10 million. Based on our analysis, we believe that should the proposition pass, we will be able to fund that additional 10 million and provide this facility to the citizens.
And the final question that we've received at this point is related to the level of service that the complex will be able to accommodate. And it's asking if this will be able to accommodate college conferences, championships, or tournaments, that level of accommodating.
It is our desire to be able to cover smaller scale NCAA conferences as we go forward. Our parks team Patrick, our director of Parks and Recreation, does a good job of reaching out to that community and finding out their needs. As we go through the process to designing the facility, we'll have that communication and make sure that we design it at the size and the level of spectators that we need to accommodate that.
Those are the only pre-received questions that we have at this point.
Well, we just want to make sure that if anyone has a question outstanding, that you go ahead and put it on the card.
Did you want me to ask? Now, these are the additional comments that we received that are on the other form. Would you like me to ask these people?
Well, that may be appropriate because that will give anyone else who wants to take the opportunity to write a question down and present to us while we're entertaining public comment.
So one of them I've already asked. One of them is from Visit Shreveport Bossier staff. I don't know if that was more of a comment or a question. Mm-hmm. Okay, then maybe we wait till the comment period.
Since we're at the comment stage, and we can revisit questions.
Okay, so you want to move forward to comments now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, so then we will call up, and if you would like to come up first, Stacy, that would be great. And thank you very much. We are going to address these public comments at this point in the meeting now. And the first speaker is Stacy Brown with Visit Shreveport Bossier. And again, we have received about 4 different requests here.
And just to be clear, just as a matter of decorum and order, comments will only be addressing issues relating to the sports complex.
Yes.
no other peripheral issues. Thank you all very much.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, Administrator Bryant. We appreciate the opportunity to come before you and talk a little bit about this facility. We are very excited at Visit Shreveport-Bossier and the Shreveport-Bossier Sports Commission. Though this was a recent study that you did, we've actually done a number of studies in the past that have shown the need for this type of facility. So as far back as in like 2018, even prior to that. So this is not a new need, but it's a growing need and important for not only sports tourism, but also for the quality of life of the citizens in Caddo Parish. It also speaks to the ability of our community to attract new businesses, because one of the first things new businesses ask for is, what are the amenities that will help me bring and retain quality employees into the community? And so this is one of the things that is very popular now. Most families that have children of the age to play some type of sport, this is something they're interested in and would definitely be an asset to a number of facets of our community. We've provided some information in the past, but one of the things I wanted to mention was very recent. So earlier this week, Sarah Nelms, our director of our sports commission, went to a trade show where she has scheduled appointments to talk with sports rights holders. She had 31 scheduled appointments. Of those, 12 of them were like, I want this facility, keep me updated. I can bring a tournament of, and it's a variety of different types of sports. We actually have one to add to your list, table tennis. So we've got tremendous impact possible as far as economic impact for our community. We are really looking forward to working with the staff. I do want to commend the commission and your staff and your choices, because we have seen that partnership. Your head of Parks and Recreation, Patrick Wesley, has been a part of the sports community for many years. He has attended the sports conferences. He has the education and the background to really facilitate a facility that can attract these types of events. So sometimes people build a facility and then say, how can you help us sell it? And a lot of times we have to say we really can't, because it's not designed for competition. This is one that they've talked to us ahead of time, they've done the research, and they know what is needed to drive those tournaments from out of town and bring in that economic impact, and let visitors pay for the facility. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. The next speaker that we received a request from, I believe I'm trying to go in the order I received these, is Drew Myers.
I found out about this project about a week ago. My name is Drew Myers. I'm the Executive Vice President of the Southern Section of the United States Tennis Association. I'm here with Jay Boyd, who is a past president of the Louisiana Tennis Association. And we're also here on behalf of the Northwest Louisiana Community Tennis Association, which is one of the top performing community tennis associations in the South. Tennis's mission is to grow tennis to inspire healthier people and communities everywhere. And I want to compliment everyone here today on the forward thinking in connection with this proposed sports complex. Tennis is booming. There is a tremendous demand for tennis courts, both indoor and outdoor, across the nation, and especially in this area, which has historically been a superb tennis venue. Studies have proven that tennis is also one of the healthiest sports. I believe there are 2 major studies out that say if you play a racket sport, primarily tennis, you're going to live 9.7 years longer. Tennis can be played from the age of 5 to 85. My father played till he was 80 years old. So as wonderful as this complex is, especially for what I would call the younger sports, tennis would provide an opportunity for players of all ages, 5 to 85, to play. Now, tennis has grown in popularity. 80% of tennis in the country is played on public courts. Tennis participation has increased 90% among Hispanic players, 46% among African American players, and 37% among Asian players. Tennis is for all ages and for every community. Tennis events like junior tournaments, adult league events that are held in Shreveport will bring in players from all over Louisiana and also Arkansas, Texas, Mississippi. That, of course, plays into what we've been talking about so far today in bringing the tourism dollars in. If you host a state league championship, you may have 300 to 400 players coming in, and these would be players that are adult players of all ages, from probably 25 all the way up to 75 or 80. Tennis also provides opportunities for our adaptive athletes. Wheelchair tennis, visually impaired tennis are also being developed throughout the country. In fact, Baton Rouge holds one of the top wheelchair tennis events in the world. And so wheelchair tennis has become an important part over the last probably 20 years. There are grants available from the USTA and also from USTA Southern, which may be available to assist in the tennis component should this proposed complex proceed and incorporates tennis as one of the sports.
And I'm sorry, we're at time
Okay.
now. And we should, it does say on the form, but I just want to remind everybody that the public comments are limited to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
That we're happy to, if you want to provide additional information, we'll be happy to share
I
it.
was done.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Brent.
Thank you so very much. And the next speaker that we have is, the next card that we received is from Victor Morris with, I believe it says Calvary Baptist Academy.
How you guys doing? Vic Morris, head basketball coach at Calvary Baptist Academy. I'm also the founder and program director of OWE Travel Ball Club. It's an AAU organization. In the last 12 years, we've kind of taken kids from North Louisiana, Shreveport area, all over the country to play basketball in hopes to earn scholarships for college. So I'm very familiar with, complexes like this and the impact it can make on the communities. Just this past June, I'm part of the Louisiana Coaches Association, Basketball Coaches Association. We had JSE Top 100 Camp, boys and girls, 2 weekends in June. I think the economic impact was $864,000 with girls and boys showcases that they had there. And this is just talking about high school basketball. So you can imagine what you could bring when you talk about travel baseball or travel basketball in those areas. The growth and the opportunity, honestly, is tremendous. And this is one of the nicest facilities I've seen so far, just looking at it. I'd also like to say, outside of just the money part, I think bringing something like this to Caddo would give the community a sense of unity. A lot of times these kids, they play sports, but it's for certain high school or certain middle school. It's a place where I feel like they all can call theirs, and not just basketball. If it's tennis, if it's pickleball or volleyball, which is a very rising sport in this area now. I think it kind of gives us a sense of unity throughout the community and something that not only the adults, but the kids could be proud of, not just now, but 10, 20 years from now. So I think it's a great idea, and you guys have my support.
Thank you. The next speaker that we have received a request from is Dr. Woody Wilson. And as Dr. Wilson makes his way up, I do want to mention that we have a couple of more speaker requests, but we also have a couple of question requests that came in. So after Dr. Wilson talks, I may ask how we want to address those.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Commissioner Young, Administrator Bryan, I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. I'm not here to sell the program because I think it sells itself. I'm very excited about this particular project. The last excitement I had was this building was built with a general obligation bond, no increase in tax. Look at it. We get an opportunity to do it again with this building. It would be great to walk into this building and not be in Dallas or Houston, but be here in Caddo Parish area. And I think it's a great opportunity. You know, the parish has wonderful infrastructure, roads and buildings, but we have to start building a cultural infrastructure to give people things to do when they're not at work. And this is a step in the right direction. And I'm here representing the Friends of the Parish of Caddo. We labor to raise funds to get information out to the citizens. We did it for this building, and we're going to do it for this building, to encourage citizens to vote yes, because we have to build a future. The future doesn't exist yet, but it's going to come. So we may as well go ahead and prepare for it now, so when we get to the future, it will look like something we want to look like instead of something else. So I commend you all, commissioners and staff. Great job. Lisa and the design crew, great job. A master plan was great job. Let's make the investment that in our future that requires it. And again, commissioners, thank you for leaving the lights on if I can find my way back. And it's good to see you all. And I'm praying for you all, and I'm still serving. If you need my support, just reach out, let me know. But thank you.
Thank you. And like I said, at this point, we do have some speaker requests and questions that sound relatively similar. In order that we can accommodate both, it might be appropriate if we address the questions first and then the speaker requests. Would that be okay? Okay. So the first question is, one of the questions that we received is, once and if the bond is approved this fall in the election, what is the expected time off the ground before a groundbreaking and operational time frame?
We'd love to say it'll be immediately, but it will take time to go through the process to design the facility. We want to have community meetings. We want to determine what the commission envisions as a whole to make sure that whatever property they choose and whatever property they locate on, that we're prepared to address expansion. So I wouldn't think we would break ground for at least a year and a half from the November 3rd time frame. So that would be sometime in 2028.
Thank you. And the next question that we received is related to the location. Where is this envisioned to be?
Response. I think she's taken a very, very conservative view because what we've discovered over time, that it is better to underpromise and overperform than to overpromise and underperform. So this is going to be fast track. We're going to be thoughtful. We're going to be responsible. But we're hoping we can do the groundbreaking in earlier time than what she's articulated. And I think it's important, you know, the way she approached it in a very conservative way. But thank you very much.
Location. So the parish, we hired a consultant to identify viable areas in our community that would best support a sports complex. That study revealed that the I-20 corridor west of I-49 has great potential. It was based on the high traffic on I-20, which is over 73,000 cars a day. It has the lowest land price in the evaluation, the availability of hotels and restaurants, easy access from the east and west, and available expansion opportunities. The Caddo Parish Economic Development Committee did recommend that the commission look at activity properties I-20 corridor, including the urban areas. However, the commission as a whole has not identified a specific location. The commission would have to make that determination. We would have to wait to see if the citizens support this initiative on November 3rd. And then the administration would be tasked to provide to the commission locations that meet their needs. throughout the parish, and we provide that information to them, and then they would make a recommendation as to the location. But we would be looking at what is best for the community, what is best for the complex, and what best meets our needs for expansion.
Okay, thank you. That concludes the questions that we received, and if appropriate, we'll return to the public comment portion, where the next request for public comment that we received is from my friend, Mr. Craig Lee. There he is.
Want to thank you guys for today. Awesome. Absolutely awesome presentation. But I want to put some context with this because there were a few things that was mentioned in the video that are kind of misleading. This facility won't stop travel when it comes to AAU. AAU is a national, international process. And I'll give you some perspective. When I retired from corporate America back in 1995, my first client is a nonprofit by the name of Express Sports, LaWarren Brown and Lonnie Bryant. Out of that organization, we have now over 10 players who have played in the NFL, Greedy Williams, Shaq White, Tre'Davious White, several others. And we have great nonprofit organizations here, and this is something that we've talked about for the past 30 years, this kind of place where we could bring in AAU tournaments, but it doesn't stop the travel. It just allows Caddo Parish, Shreveport to generate some funds that typically go all the time to Dallas, Houston, Atlanta. So we would be a part of this emerging AAU industry. And I'll say this because I'm also affiliated with JL3 in Houston, Texas, which is Hall of Famer John Lucas's AAU basketball deal. And I've been exposed to that now for the past 5-6 years. And AAU is a big deal. I mean, it is a huge deal. And for us to be able to participate in this is great. But here's the last thing I want to bring to the parish. As I'm preparing to run for city council, and as I've sat on the tourism board of directors, our hospitality tourism infrastructure is something that needs to be addressed in terms of hotels. Because as we bring people in, we got to have hotels to house them. The AKAs just came here with 6,000 members, and they had to stay outside of Shreveport, Caddo, because we don't have enough hotels. And I'm glad that you've identified an area pretty much west of the 49, but we've lost the Holodome, and we need to bring some hoteliers in, and our aging Hilton is almost in a dilapidated standpoint. So that's something that you all need to look at as it relates to attracting individuals to bring hotels to the area. But I'm 100% behind this project.
Thank you. Would you like to speak to his comment?
I'll first talk about the clarification that this will not stop our citizens from having to travel. It will not stop, but it will be nice to have the opportunity to have a competition where you live. I myself, when I used to have to travel with my daughter for gymnastics, we had one competition the entire season in Caddo Parish. So every other weekend, we had to travel for competitions. And so it would have been nice to be able to have more competitions at home so that we can be home and also invite friends and family. So that is the goal for our citizens. We want them to have that opportunity. We want them to have that opportunity to give back to the community that is helping to raise their children, the community that they're educating their children in. We feel like they would benefit from that. Our schools benefit from that. And so I want to mention our school system because this is a facility that we want to partner with them and we want to work with them so that our children in the school system can use this facility in the best way possible for them. Now, in relation to hospitality and the hotel industry, It is our goal to work with a developer as we begin the development of this facility to bring hotels at the same time. We're bringing this facility, a hotel, as you saw from the site plan, a hotel, 2 hotels, hopefully, very near the facility. As we expand the facility, we would hope to bring in another hotel, so that we all know that when we're there, when I used to choose my location, I chose the hotel nearest to the facility. So I can walk in, go out somewhere with the other kids, come back. That's why I also want to talk about the Family Entertainment Center, having an opportunity so that when you have your younger kids while your other child is participating in the sports, something to entertain them. So we have considered those issues that you brought forward. We'll continue to hear from the citizens and continue to hear from you all and what you'd like to see. We want this facility to be something that the citizens can be proud of and the citizens had a part in designing. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Clerk.
Thank you. And the final request we have for public comment today is from Mr. Sam Brock.
Commission, thank you for putting this together today. It's been a great event. There's been a lot of talk about the travel, tourism, and I think we are really missing out on that. I'll give you just some quick examples. There'll be 75 teams, youth sports teams in Alexandria Pineville next weekend, which is about 2,500 people coming into to that town and eating, renting hotel rooms. The very next weekend in Alexandria Pineville, there's 107 teams coming in. Now you're talking about 3,000 more people the very next weekend. Little towns in Louisiana like Eunice, population of 9,000, bring in 40 and 50 teams a weekend because of their sports facilities. There was a study just a couple of years ago done for Caddo and Bossier Parish that analyzed our infrastructure for sports tourism, and we rated well in that with our airport, with our interstate system, with our hotels. And I agree with Mr. Lee that obviously business, any business that comes in, that breeds more business. So we'll have more hotels. Those hotels that are sitting out by the airport that are dilapidated, we'll see those be remodeled or torn down and new hotels built. But I don't want to just talk about the tourism. I think this is an amazing opportunity for us to have family-based tourism as opposed to just casino-based tourism. Family-based tourism brings money in here and keeps money in our city. These casinos aren't owned by anybody here. And that money comes in and then just gets shipped out to wherever it goes. Certainly we get tax revenue from it. But this is something that'll bring positive family-based tourism to Caddo Parish. The other thing that I think is so important is that's on weekends, but Monday through Thursday, we talk about crime in our city all the time. You can't go a day without hearing about it. And the best way for us to battle crime long term is to start at 6 years old, 8 years old, 10 years old, so that we don't keep hearing about 14-year-olds pulling a trigger. So I hope that this all comes about. And when it does, I hope that you will push to make sure this facility is available Monday through Thursdays for those that can't afford travel ball, because those are the ones that really matter. Thank you.
Commissioners, I do want to address about the facility and the other days of the week. Obviously, most tournaments are held on weekend, but it is our vision that this facility will be a year-round facility. We're already having communications with the Caddo Parish school system to talk about how our youth can use the facility during the week, as well as that's why the indoor track that you see to be able to allow our citizens to use the facility. It'll also have meeting space. It'll have hopefully have other athletic equipment, and so it is our goal that this facility would be open throughout the week. We don't want it to sit closed and empty while it's not being utilized. So definitely we will be working with the community to see how we can develop programming, ongoing programming throughout the week, so that we can provide another avenue to our citizens.
At this point, that concludes our public comment period, and the next item on our agenda is the commissioner remarks and closing comments.
All right, thank you, Mr. Clerk. At this time, I would love to entertain comments or questions by my colleagues, and I think we'll start with Commissioner Burrell and work ourselves around. Okay, Commissioner Burrell, the chair recognizes you, sir.
Testing. Again, Mr. President, I think this is a great project. We need a project of this sort here. The location, I'm sure that we can work out something that would be amenable to both our young people who are in our urban centers who need it greatly, as well as those that surround us. Shreveport can support a project of this size and this nature, especially if we're not going to place any additional tax burden on our citizens. Sometimes we think too small, and other towns smaller than we are think larger than we do. And it's about time for us to look at something or look at ourselves as an asset to this area and start thinking a little bigger than what we're thinking at this point. If you think small, you'll always be small. And I think that, again, this is something that we sorely need. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Commissioner Burrell. The chair recognizes Commissioner John Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think we, as responsible leaders, we need to look at the finances associated with this, and I don't want to get into the weeds. Obviously, it's in the venue for that, but Ms. Bryant, can you just, at a high level, rough out how much revenue the millage will generate and what will be our debt service and how those two offset each other? And if there is a gap, how we'll cover that gap?
So the millage itself, I believe, bring in, I'll let Ms. Barnett, I think it brings in about $3 million or so a year, but based on our debt service and when you would actually issue these bonds, so the fact that the facility wouldn't actually break ground till about 2028, so you'll be looking at your assessment starting in 2028, and the projection starting in 2028 and beyond is where we will then collect the additional revenue to be able to pay these bonds. Okay. And so these will be about 25 to 30-year bonds. And so when we start to begin to collect that additional revenue, we would have enough information before we break ground to know whether or not our revenue sources can cover the bonds before we issue, and to know whether or not our estimates are on target. And so that is the plan as
because of the other developments in our community, they're going to positively impact that revenue? Correct.
The other developments, as well as some properties that have come on the tax roll. As you know, we had the OGM plant. It has come fully on the tax roll. We have Amazon that is now, there were some tax incentives, but there is additional assessment there. So when we look at the activity, and when I talk about Amazon, I'm talking about the distribution center, not the other deal.
Other thing, not the other thing.
And so as we have those additional properties come on the roll, so as you have the increase in your assessment, that's what we're looking at to be able to say, we have to analyze every year what that millage is bringing in order to be able to know whether or not we can issue additional debt to still use that millage. I want to point out the fact that the parish has been very responsible. That millage at one time was 6 mills. And so now we're being able to do a lot of projects based on the projections of the 1.5 mils.
Okay. And so we're not anticipating we're anticipating that millage will be able to cover the debt service associated with this additional debt.
Yes, sir. We're anticipating that we will be able to provide you data before we issue the bonds to ensure that we have the revenue in order to pay the debt service.
And we have others, and if it weren't to cover our full debt service, then we've got other sources of revenue that are not committed to other.
Yes, sir. So we do have undedicated revenues. Should we not have the resources, we would have the resources to pay these bonds. Our finance team does a good job of analyzing what it takes to operate. What the commission has done throughout the years is we focus those additional revenues on these type of projects and not our operations, so that we can ensure that we can still cover our salaries, we can still pay our bills, despite the fact that we may do more large-scale projects. We have worked hard to put ourselves in a position to be able to now give back to the community after we've looked at our roads, looked at our jails, looked at the other items that we have to be responsible for. And now, how do we address the quality of life initiatives that our citizens are constantly telling us that they want? We hear that all the time. We want quality of life initiatives. We want the things that our neighbors have. And I applaud the commission for considering it and seeing whether or not the citizens would support an initiative like this.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Barnett, perhaps next week we can get together and talk about some of the details associated with this topic. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you for your questions and observations, Commissioner Atkins. I just may note, in case the community is not aware of it, that our CEO, Ms. Bryant, is a certified public accountant, and I also think that her very well qualified finance director is a certified public accountant. I think it's important to know that Mr. Atkins is a very, very fiscal, conservative person. And so we're not doing this willy-nilly. I get into it with the commission quite often that I'm probably the most fiscal, conservative person among this panel, because we can argue about that. But I'll tell you that we're watching the pennies in this project. So I think it's an amazing thing that the city of Shreveport has, I think they have annual revenues that exceed $700 million. And the commissioner is like around $100 million. And yet we're able to take so little and do so much. And I think it's a credit to the financial accounting staff that is resident within our organization. Commissioner Grace Ann.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I want to thank everyone who's come out today. I especially want to say thank you to those that were willing to get up and speak and share with us your thoughts on this project. And I want to thank those who had questions and concerns in sharing that. I most importantly look forward to the people of Caddo Parish having the opportunity to vote for this project. As a commissioner, I've spoken on this before, but I haven't had such a large audience to share this. But the first thing that I was able to share as a commissioner that I wanted to see what the people of Caddo Parish, when I was door knocking, were asking for. And they were asking for quality of life projects, in particular pertaining to sports. And I was asked by people, well, what could I do to help with that? And I can share what the people of Caddo Parish want, and I can, as a commissioner, do my best to be fiscally responsible and just to simply do the will of the people. So as a commissioner, I want to make sure that I continue to share the facts and the information for this project, and will continue to do so. But I do feel it's important that I share as a mother and a constituent for many years of this parish, of having my personal concerns that I didn't have the opportunity for my children to experience this type of an opportunity. And that I was traveling every weekend with my children, so my money and my tax dollars were being spent in Houston, Dallas, South Louisiana, Arkansas, Florida, and Mississippi. And I also saw other children that didn't have the opportunity because they couldn't afford such travel experience. Quality of life has been sorely missed in our community, my young adult life, and now as an older adult. I think it is very important that we focus that we can do good things and we can do that in the right manner. This is a great facility to show how well Caddo Parish has done with their funds to provide for our community. I also like to share that not just a mother and not just a commissioner, but I'm a business owner. And so we have had a parish that has been servicing service industry. And so it's wonderful that we now are at a time where we see industry coming into our community. And this is an exciting opportunity to know that businesses are going to reap from tourism and sports tourism, but tourism, because once people come to this area, they see the beauty, they see the culture, and they see the things that they can do. So I see this beyond sports tourism. I see this as a tourism opportunity. And when I was fighting hard for the pickleball competition, which I think this is such a beautiful partner to understand that we have a large breadth of need in our community, and we're going to be able to fill a lot of opportunity. As we heard speakers sharing, I don't know about sports. I just know what it's about, spending money for sports. And so hearing about the level of opportunities we're missing, I am so grateful to say yet once again, as a business owner, what's so important about this is we're going to have butts in the booths of restaurants. We're going to have bodies in the beds of hotels and Airbnbs, and we're going to have pocketbooks in businesses. And so I look forward to sharing information. I do look forward to understanding the responsibilities that we should be overseeing of the money for the people of the parish. And so thank you all again for coming out.
All right, thank you,
Mr.
Commissioner
President.
Grace Ann Blake, for your very thoughtful observations. Commissioner Vice President Victor Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. President. As the youngest person serving on the commission, I count it a privilege and a joy for me to be able to speak for my generation. Anytime that I try to address the public, I try to speak to my generation. As we were sitting here, I was just kind of overwhelmed with emotion and joy, because when I think it's very fitting that we chose to begin these showcases here. At the Walter B. Jacobs facility. In 1975, when this facility opened to the public, the Jacobs family entrusted the Caddo Parish Commission to take this facility and do something with it for the people, so that they would be connected to nature, so they would be connected for future generations. As I sit here and I see my colleague with his daughter here, I'm reminded that everything that we do is for the posterity of Caddo Parish. I can't wait to be an 85-year-old man watching to see what that manifests and turn into. My mind, I always think very high. I always think very big. And sometimes God always lets me settle a whole lot better than what I anticipated. And He allows those things to manifest. This is something that I hope that our citizens can rally behind. I hope that our citizens can can really grasp and envision what this means for our community, what this means for not only tourism, what this means for your children, what this means for us being a major player as it relates to national sports tourism, as it relates for those generations in the future, what they're going to be able to do with this. Once again, this facility I think is a very great example of Caddo Parish's stewardship behind public facilities, our ability to build them, our ability to manage them, and our ability to make them thrive. So once again, I speak to my peers. This is a very important election, and I think that we have an opportunity, not only as young people, but we have an opportunity to shape what Caddo Parish looks like in the future. A lot of times when I travel, I come back home, and I really think that sometimes we may have an identity complex with who we are, what we can become. Where we sit on the I-20 corridor, we're almost the largest city from here to Atlanta, from Dallas to Atlanta. And I think it's time for us to be a player. I think it's time for us to act like it. And I think it's time for us to show the world exactly what we can do. I know it's been said before about the works that our Parks and Rec director, Mr. Patrick Wesley, has done. Caddo Parish has the relationships with MLB, with NFL, with NBA, with PGA, with you name every sports. You just heard tennis, table tennis. We have those relationships already. It's time for us to give them a place for us to house those relationships, to cultivate those relationships, and let it grow and let the world know that Shreveport has a place for all of these sports and so much more. I want people to think beyond the 13 acres that's been displayed here. Think beyond the expansion that you saw with the other phases. One of the reasons why we want large acreage is because we hear all the time, oh, I want this business to come here, I want this business to come here. This is where they can go. This is where we sprawl hotels. This is what stimulates it, and this is what drives that type of change. And I hope that our citizens are pleased as we go out and provide the information to them. I hope that they receive it well, and I hope that they can help and join us in driving change for Caddo Parish. Thank you.
Thank you for your remarks, Commissioner. Commissioner Stormgate Watts, chair recognizes you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. President. As I sat here and watched that presentation, I literally fought back tears because I was truly reminded of the reason of my yes and why I answered the call to service, to improve the quality of life for all. And as a mother, I know what it means to watch your sons chase different dreams, one sprinting across the field with everything in him, and another finding his strength in quieter battles. Every place that we go, I'm looking for that place. Somewhere we all belong. That's not a small ask. It's a mother's instinct, and it's also good government. And it's bigger than a season of childhood. When we build a parish that works for every family, we build a Caddo that our grandchildren will inherit. A place families can see themselves 30 years from now. That's not just compassion, that's economic development. This sports complex is an identity for generations to come and a space to draw new residents, businesses, and investments for all. This is crime prevention. This is unity. This is investment. This is protection. This is future planning. This is the destination location. This is Caddo. Thank you, Mr. President.
And thank you for your remarks, Commissioner. Let's see who we got over here. Yeah.
That's something you want to say?
She got.
She's the smart one of the family.
I didn't mean to embarrass you. Well, we glad you're here, darling. We're gonna let your daddy talk for you, okay?
Well,
Our Commissioner.
I don't know if she wants me
Crackman.
talking for her, but I'll call.
The chair recognizes Commissioner Chris Crackman, and just as a footnote, this is his district, District 1, and we're very much excited about you hosting this opportunity today, Commissioner.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I would like to thank you for holding this here, and I hate that Commissioner Epperson's not here, he's always talking about how we should have our own facility. Well, it wasn't that far of a drive for everybody, I don't think. I'm pretty comfortable, really. But no, thank you. I think Commissioner Atkins addressed most of the questions that I have, so I have a two-part question for administration and then a clarification. Before this hits the ballot in November, what kind of ad campaign are we budgeted for? How much are we going to spend on an ad campaign to push this, and how much have we already spent to this point?
So what we spend is in relation to informational information. So we already have an agreement in place for our videos that we produce, and this particular video was produced under that ongoing contract. We do the printed material and some other fact information we put together. We usually are in the range of 15,000 or so for everything. We'll do ads in our local, a lot of it is digital, but we'll do some print. We have our cards, our rack cards that we've put together. That information that we'll have those that we'll pay for, so those costs, and as well as our digital media.
Okay. And I wasn't going to ask that, but Greg said something about counting pennies, so I had to count those pennies. Next, so just a clarification, I think I heard you clearly. Until this passes, we won't make a decision at the precise location of this center.
No, the precise location, there is a lot of authority that has been granted to the parish administration, but one I do not have is to purchase property or lease property without a vote of the Caddo Parish Commission. So we would have to have a vote on the specific property. We believe that it is premature to have that type of vote if the citizens have not granted us the authority for the complex.
Okay, and I'm going to take one more privileged question just from me personally. The original plan and the future plans, in case we expand, does not include baseball and softball, right?
It does not include baseball.
But could,
and softball. It could.
Potentially.
At this time, it does not. It
Okay.
could. The thing we want to get this facility is about meeting a need in our community and what complements what's already in our community. So what we would want to do is make sure that what we provide complements what we already have. And if there's a need or gap that is identified, then most definitely we would like to address that if we can.
Sure. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you
President.
very much for your questions, Commissioner
Yes.
Crackman. I may just maybe add just a little bit more if I could.
Are you going to tell us that we're going to meet out here again?
It would be nice, wouldn't it? Okay, in terms of the money that we spent heretofore, it's really been about providing information. Would that be the correct way to interpret the money we spent?
That's correct.
Okay, information only. So the money that we spend is not about persuading people to vote one way or the other on this initiative. Is that accurate?
That's accurate. Our goal is to provide information so that the citizens can be informed when they decide. They will decide for themselves if they want to support this or not, and we're going to give them information and try to answer as many questions as we can while they're making it, to help them make that decision.
Yes, ma'am. And just one more question to this point. There is an organization that has established itself for the sole purpose of persuading people to vote for this initiative on November the 3rd.
So I can't, but I know Dr. Wilson came forward and he stated that there is an organization.
And just as a point of privilege, Dr. Wilson, will you stand one more time and give us the name of your organization? Friends for the Parish of Caddo. That's right. That's right. And just to be clear, the monies that's allocated to you does not come from the taxpayers. It comes from, right. Right. All right, thank you once again. And for you all who don't know, most of you are probably aware, Dr. Wilson is the former CEO and Chief Executive Officer of the Parish of Caddo. And so you can witness by his presentation and demeanor that he is still all in with serving our community. Thank you again, Dr. Wilson. The chair recognizes Commissioner Ron Conklin.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I would like to thank everybody for coming, in particular the three ladies from my district that I recognize. There might be others, but I saw those three ladies when they came in the door. As you've heard previously from my peers, the thing is, this complex that we're talking about will be phenomenal for our community. I would love to be able to see NCAA. I would love to be able to see AAU in Shreveport Caddo Parish. I've lived in previous cities prior to getting here, and I've been able to go to those games because, again, those facilities were available in those cities. The other thing we have to remember is that no tax increase. I repeat, no tax increase. The thing is, anyone that comes to my house and give me something that costs $60 to $70 million and tell me it's not going to cost any more, bring it. Okay? Just that simple. Keeping it simple. And the last thing I would share with you is that there are meetings being scheduled throughout the parish. I have scheduled some in my district. Other commissioners have scheduled in their districts as well, and there will be more to follow. Anyone, everyone, small house, spar, library, whatever, you would like someone to come talk to you all so you can get accurate information. I did say accurate. Not the stuff that you're going to probably see on Google as soon as we finish this, but accurate information. Please, please, please get in contact with our CEO, president, whomever the case might be, so we can provide that information. And lastly, I would just like to say, Mr. Wesley, thank you very much for everything you've done, doing, and going to do. Again, I thank Lastly, I would say maybe I'll be able to get a few dollars from my son if he has to quit running outside the city with his kids. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Conklin.
As we get ready to close, I would like to just take this opportunity to thank our communications department for helping to compile the information that we have here today, the informational rack cards, as well as the website that we talked about. We have caddo.gov/Caddo Sports. Our meetings that we'll be hosting within the next couple of weeks will be listed there. And any document associated with this initiative is also at that website, as well as those frequently asked questions. We've received a lot of questions, and we've done our very best to answer all those questions. If you have additional questions as we go forward, please just let us know.
All right, thank you. Thank you. And I can always tell when people start rumbling papers and so forth, it's time to go. So let me just, I'm sorry. You have one final question? Okay, the chair recognizes Commissioner Burrell.
I just want to ask the administration, the renderings that we have here, do we have access to them?
We can get those to you, and they are on our website.
One final question. Since this project has not been designed yet, and we're going to have the possibility of indoor facilities as well as outdoor sports, would there be a possibility of it not necessarily being all together? It could be in separate locations.
Obviously, that's something the commission would have to decide. That is obviously possible. And if that's the direction that you all would want to take, you would have to consider that.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, I love telling good stories. Of course, I have a master's degree in history, so that's some indication how much I love stories, but I'll be very brief. I was invited to give a talk to middle school students a couple of years ago in my district during Technology Week. And of course, I got a chance to go down on memory lane at the time when I was like about 3 or 4 years old. Now I'm going to be dating myself. When we had a party line, telephone. You could be on the phone just chewing it up, and you chewing it up, and then somebody would break in and say, hey, I need to make a call. Can you get off? Now, look, it was one of those situations where you have to be very amiable and democratic about it, because if you hog in the line, and then if they get on the phone and they're hogging the line, you may want to make a call. So it was one of those things you really had to develop a good relationship. And I think about how that during those times, you go out on the street corner and you can walk into their telephone booth and put that little card in there. And if you want to call somebody in Mendon or in Rodessa or whatever, you know, you had a choice. You can make a person-to-person call, collect. Y'all remember those days? Where you dial 1 or you dial 0, and you actually got an operator. Now, fast forward, and when I was, I guess in my early 20s, they came out with the little cell phones. Y'all remember? Initially, the one used to be in that little suitcase thing. Boy, let me tell you, when I would get out at night, you know, in my single days, and I'd be riding around, I had that big old thing with that phone with that card. Man, I thought I was something. I ain't gonna tell you no story. And then over time, you know, we migrated to the situation where, you know, we had the little old flip phone. Y'all remember that? That little old flip phone, you couldn't take pictures with it. You couldn't record anything, but you thought you was something when you could flip that old thing and be on that talker. And then they put them in cars. And you see some people with the high-end cars, and they had a little telephone that still had a card in there. Y'all remember that? And boy, they'd be leaning and talking. Man, it was something else. And now we're in a time where we have these cell phones. And think about a child in India. How many saw the movie Slumdog Millionaire? And see these people living in abject poverty? Think about this just for a second. For some of these kids, it was the first time in their life, when they got a cell phone, it was the first time in their life that they actually had possession of a telephone, actually had possession of a camera, actually having possession of a calculator, actually having possession of a video recorder, actually having possession of, look, y'all help me, actually having a possession of a calculator, actually having possession of a flashlight. All of these elements tied up in this one little device. You see how much change that has occurred over time? And so I challenge these young people that change is inevitable, but the choice is rather binary. You can either be a passenger on the train of change, or you can be a driver. I would like to encourage all of you all to invest in the future of change. And you can do that by not only talking to your immediate family, but talking to your friends and encourage them to be a driver on the train of change by voting yes on November the 3rd. Thank you all for coming out and supporting this initiative. God bless you all. And keep coming back. Keep coming back to this facility. Meeting adjourned.